Hi, how is everybody doing, and Happy New Year. The last video I did was about loneliness, and there was such a great interaction and response to that video that I decided to do a video about something equally common amongst all of humankind, which is regret. I'd like to thank all my Patreon fans for continuing to support me, people who buy me a coffee. Thank all of you guys out there. And this has been an interesting thing to think about, and I hope you find it interesting too. Now, regret is a pretty powerful thing, and I'm sure every single person out there knows somebody who has had to deal with some form of regret. Particularly if you are close friends with somebody, more than likely they have confided to you about being regretful about something. I have been regretful about quite a few things in my life, and I've had to figure out a way to manage those things, and I've carried some of those things with me, and I'm still struggling with some of them. One of the reasons I decided to talk about regret is because last year was kind of a tough year for me, filled with a few challenges, some personal stuff that was unexpected and required a great deal of psychic energy and just fortitude to get through. So I've been thinking about poor decision making and the ramifications that happen because of that. And it made me think about regret as a subject writ large. This is something all of us have in common, and we can also get over regret and look forward to things being more optimistic in the future, which is what I am actually doing right now. So I hope anybody out there who is suffering from regret that is debilitating or even just distracting to the point of not being able to enjoy life as much as you could, remember that like loneliness, this is also a temporary state, and things will get better eventually. I've found that the best way to deal with regret, for me personally, is to stay in the moment. It appears that the past is sealed in aspic. You can't do anything about that. The present seems to be somewhat plastic and malleable. The future appears to be a mist that you're walking into that is completely unknown. The only thing that you actually have some kind of control over is the present. That doesn't mean that you still won't be regretful about things that you decide to do or the way that you react to things in the present. So while the past is indeed sealed and you can't really do anything about it, somehow your brain is highly selective about what it chooses to be regretful about. This is an interesting phenomenon, and it's usually something that appears to be unresolved to me, or you feel like at some point you were at the point of making a decision about something, and you had a few options, and perhaps you made the incorrect one for yourself at the time. Sometimes you do make the right decision, and those don't appear to be nourishing in any way to your soul that you did make a correct decision. There doesn't seem to be any satisfaction in having made the good decision. You just continue on with your life, and that just goes into the big book of great decision making, and you look forward to making good decisions again in the future. However, these decisions in the past, which keep nagging you and coming back, appear to have some point of no resolution to them, and there's this point of just wondering if it was the right thing or not. I've personally felt this about a few relationships I've had, both professional and personal, with a variety of people. And the other people involved in this are the X factor. You cannot control how they are going to respond to whatever the particular situation is. So that in itself creates an element of consternation, and that can certainly linger for years and years and years. And I still have things that I think about, well, I could have made this decision, I could have made that decision. Sometimes decisions are made for you and you don't even have an option in which case you can still have regret about not being more proactive within the situation. This is all just my personal take on it. Everybody has to go through their own process with trying to resolve things that are lingering into the future and the present as well. So for me personally, the best way to address this is somewhat of a Zen-like approach to regret, which is to merely be like a leaf on a stream and just react to what's happening in the present and stay present as much as you can. The interesting thing about regret, of course, is that this is completely self-initiated and self-created. And so in a sense, you do have some measure of control over the depth of regret and whether or not you choose on some level to let that overwhelm you. So for me personally, it can be extremely overwhelming, and I've found it balancing to realize that I do have some level of control over that overwhelming feeling that is regret. So often I can think of balancing those negative feelings with some positivity that might be right in front of me, even if the sun is shining, or just being grateful and thankful for even the smallest things that I take for granted that are perhaps unavailable to other people. So I hope that offers a measure of hope to people who are feeling overwhelmed by regret. Just remember that you do have control over the situation, and you can balance it with some positivity and get a good result in doing that, should you choose to. I'd love to hear some of your tales of regret, should you choose to share them. I know I'm being somewhat reticent about my particular tales of regret. I may go into some more in detail in some other videos, but thanks for watching, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you're saying.